Hello and welcome to this another recording where we're going to speak about another talk and a lecture. This talk and lecture is going to be something special. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be something that is a bit more calculational, a bit more symbolic, a little bit more towards being scientific or mathematical. Yeah, this is something that I'm going to represent with symbols, and by the symbols who would hold values, we will understand what I'm trying to say. So we're going to have symbols, we're going to have values, we're going to have some letters, and I begin, it goes like this. So firstly, the first page is going to say experience, accomplishment of phases. Experience, accomplishment of phases is, we're going to speak about someone, each and every entity or being of us that is within where he's at in his world. Yeah, in his world, you're on this earth. This is a phase. This earth and the galaxy of this is a phase, and we want to accomplish this phase and move forward to the next phase, to heaven. Yeah, heaven, so somewhere better, a higher form. So what we have is each of us is a repeat. Each of us is a repeat. Each of us is going to be symboled as X. Okay? And then we have the circles on at the first X at the top at the left. We have two circles going, a smaller circle going down, a bigger circle going to the right with the arrow pointing. Each of the circles represents a phase. Yeah? There's a difference between the phases because one phase is the first phase we go to, forwards or backwards, and the second phase is the phase after it is going to be relative firstly to the phase, the next or previous phase itself. Okay, so the X, each of us is a repeat, and it goes forward or backwards to another phase, and there's another phase after it or before it. So this is this. Now if you look on the right side, you can see the long line with the circle, and then it's inside the circle it's a cross. So this is where the circle happens and where the line ends to the going down, and where the cross exists is exactly where the phase exists. The circle is the phase, and this is the accomplishment of the phase of another phase. We are the line. We are the line itself, one line, and we go forwards or backwards, and we reach a phase, and then it becomes a cross within the circle, and that's where we are. Okay, and then there's more directions. There are more directions. The line, there are many lines, and they go to different directions, and there are more circles and more cross where it reaches the phase. This is this. So now if we go back to the left, X going to the circle, X arrow circle, is accomplishment. Yeah, when it reaches the circle, the phase, it's accomplishment. And then below it, we have X going to another circle, a smaller circle. We have, again, the same lines of accomplishment to appear, only to also have some colored. This is the area. Yeah, this is the area of the accomplishment of the accomplishment of the phase. Okay, this is the area, and it spreads, and so so the area spreaded is your experience. Yeah, the more experience you have, the more area you have, then it means you have more experience, and the less experience, the less area you have. And this is this. So, and each of us is a repeat. Repeating myself. Each of us is an X, which is a repeat by the inflicting. The inflicting is the phase. The phase inflicts, and all the phases that you withhold within you are inflicting your repeat. Each phase equals L, and another phase equals LL. Okay? This is the first page. We're going to have 9 pages. 9 pages. It's going to be very fun. This is the first page. Second page. In the second page, what we can see on the top left of the page, we can see many circles from within as going outside in, inside out. Many circles. This is speed. Okay? It goes in and out. as a circle, and what we're going to symbol speed with is going to be symbol speed with three circles inside, middle, and out. Okay, this is the symbol of speed in this talk and lecture. Below it, you can see again that we are in X, that is a repeat, and below that we can see that a triangle, an equilateral triangle, is self. Okay, this means to have a self is also called I. Okay, there is a self. So before we continue, yeah, I am a follower of Buddhism. So this is all from Buddhism and what we've learned from the West. So a equilateral triangle is self. So now, when we know this, I want to also mention that if you can see in the middle left side that a variable is a double X right next to each other. It's an X and an X right next to each other. It's the double X. That's a variable, the symbol for variable. And variable equals 1. Okay, each variable equals 1. Now, phase, each phase, which is a circle, equals speed times variable. So speed times 1, so phase also equals speed, because the variable equals 1. Now phase is what sets repeat. Phase is what sets repeat. Okay, just a second. So phase is what sets repeat. Phase is what sets the repeat. So phase equals x squared. Repeat squared, which equals the phase itself equals us squared. Okay, phase equals speed times variable. So speed times 1. It can be any variable, by the way. And the phase so equals x, repeat, each of us squared. So speed also equals each of us a repeat squared, or an x squared. Speed times the repeat equals area, and that is your area. So by your experience you get area, and speed times the repeat times yourself equals area. So area equals x. So speed times the repeat equals area. So area equals x in the power of 3. Okay, area equals x in the power of 3. So if you are withholding previous or next phases, then it is more speed times repeat from within and outside. So you yourself have more speed. Yeah, you need more speed times repeat. You are the repeat itself, and you have more speed times repeat from within and outside. Up to here, we have it. So speed equals you yourself and x, the repeat. Speed equals the repeat. Below, if you look down to the left, speed equals x to yourself. Speed equals you to yourself, x to the triangle, to the equilateral triangle. Repeat to the equilateral triangle. Repeat that you are just a repeat. Repeat to the self. Why do I say you're just a repeat? Because you just repeat what the phase gives you to repeat. You just repeat it. And this is what you are. You are a repeat. Okay? So speed equals you, the repeat, to the self. Now, area equals speed x. And x equals x squared. So the area again equals x in power of 3. Now, experience equals area. Okay, and then it equals x to self in brackets times x. So it equals the area equals speed times x. So it equals x to self times x. All of this equals x in power of 3. Each of us is just a repeat. And phase. So the phase equals also x to self times x. Okay. And then the phase also equals only x to self, because the phase equals x squared. If you have x squared on the left and x to self times x on the right, then one of the x on the right goes down, and the x on the left, the x squared on the left goes to x, and x equals x to self, and the and we are equal to the phase. The phase is us. So x equals x to self equals L equals x to self. And then the next phase, which is LL, equals x to self squared. Okay? So what we understood is we understood that we are the phase. We are the phase itself. Okay? And this is very important. And the conclusion is you, yourself, you the repeat to self, times you the repeat is your area. Okay? So from all of this, what we need to understand is we need to understand that phase is what sets the repeat. And that is why phase equals x squared. Okay? Phase, because phase sets the repeat, that is us, it itself equals x squared. It goes down from itself to you, and it exists itself, the phase, with you. So it equals x squared. U times u is the phase. And that is, by the way, primacy. Okay? So this is this. And the next we need to understand what we just explained. I explained that the phase equals L, and the phase equals x squared. So you put x squared in the phase, and the experience in area also equals the phase. So you take the x to self times x, and you put it with equals to x squared, and then you remove one x on the right and one x on the left, and it stays x equals x to self, and then the phase is x to self. So the phase is speed. So the phase equals to speed. The x to self, that is the phase. Each of the phases themselves is x to self. Alright? And this is the second page. This is the second page. We're going to have 9 pages, I will remind you. Going third page. Okay? Third page goes like this. We start from top left. So phase equals x squared, and phase equals L. And L equals x to self, which is the speed, and x to self, the speed, equals x squared. Okay? Because speed is the phase now. So the speed equals to x squared because the phase equals to x squared. Okay? So the area equals x to self times x. As said beforehand. Okay? The area equals x to self times x. Speed times x. Okay, speed times x. Now we have area to x, so area equals x in power of 3. L, this phase, equals x squared, as said beforehand. Phase x squared. Repeat is x. We are a repeat. Each of us is a repeat. Speed is x to self. Now we're going to the right side from the top to bottom. Speed is x to self. Speed is x squared. LL, the next phase is x in the power of 4. Okay? This is very important to remember that the next phase after the phase we go to, the phase we go to is x in power of 4. The next phase, because we are, first of all, we are x. We're just a repeat. We're not the phase. We are not the phase itself. So if there's x arrow, x towards phase, x arrow phase is the first, it can be the first phase, and it can also be the next phase, of course, from the phase you're at. Because you are in a phase, but you go to another phase, which is x squared, and beyond it, you have x4, because it goes on between x squared to x in power of 4, x squared to x in power of 4, okay? Before you go to x in power of 6, it's insane to reach, because first of all, it's x squared to x in power of 4, because how can you be in 2 phases in one time? It's within, yes, it's within, there's more speed and to self, but it goes between x squared to x in power of 4. First of all, also in the next phase is where you are at first. And then you think about within, and you say, okay, within it went on and on and on and on to x in the power of 6, in the power of 8, and going on. Now, the triangle equals self, which is an I, experience equals area, experience equals accomplishment of phases, and the conclusion is we are the phase, we are the area, we are the speed, and we are the next phases. Okay? This is the conclusion of the third page. Going fourth page. It was very fun. We have 9 pages. Fourth page. Now, starting from left top side, many. To have many is to have yourself to go to a little square. A little square is called a hole. Okay? A hole. Many is you to go to the hole. You did not go towards the hole beforehand. Many is you to go towards the hole. Okay? Many equals self to the hole. Now, what we're going to see in this paper, we're going to see that it circles by the surprise. It circles by surprise. There was no circling before surprise, okay? No circular, no circling, no circling. So the surprise effect is the same as speed, okay? So speed we know, which is repeat to self. And the surprise effect is to have a relationship existing between self and no surprise. Okay? Between self and no surprise. Now, the no surprise is going to be the sign you see on this page. That is the 3 circles attached in the middle. Okay? The 3 small circles attached in the middle as something that is elastic. This is the symbol for no surprises at all. And what does it do? No surprises, what does it do? It speeds. So even though we have speed to be repeat to self, we need to know that also no surprises speeds. So speed is going to have a low value to itself. Because, now I'm going to explain why. So if we have a relationship between surprise and no surprise, and it is also self with no surprise, because the self is what is the surprise, okay? The self is what is the surprise. So, the relationship between surprise and no surprise is speed. Okay? And the relationship is the same to say, but it's a relationship between a self to no surprise, backwards and forwards, is speed. The same as speed. So, now what you need to know, that this relationship, backwards and forwards, of surprise and no surprise to exist both, and of self and no surprise to exist both, is what circles. Okay, it's by this surprise. By. So no surprises either way exist. The same as, by the way, speed either way exists. So, what we need surprise. To have circles. To have circular. The no surprise does not have circular at all. So what does it have? Straight. Okay? Now, self equals to no self. So we have this. What we have is we have that because self equals to no self, then we have surprise and no surprise, the relationship that is speed, that is x squared, that is again, we're in the low to the left, bottom left side. So speed equals x squared, and speed is surprise to no surprise to have a relationship, or self to no surprise to have a relationship, and then it circles, and then speed equals again x squared, and it equals no surprise at all, and then it doesn't circle. So because the self and the surprise and the self equals to no self, so surprise also gets to no surprises. Yeah, the relationship between the self and the no surprise disappears to just no surprise without the self. There is so there's only no surprises, and then it doesn't circle. So what we have is we have to understand that even though we have a self, We can also have no self at all. It equals to no self at all. And we always have surprises, and we also always have no surprises. Okay, there's always surprise, and there was always no surprise, because self equals to no self, and the relationship of self and no surprises becomes a relationship of just no surprises. This is the fourth page. This is the fourth page. And so we have circle and circular, and we have no circle and no circular both. Okay? This is this. Going fifth page. Alright? We're going to have 9 pages. Fifth page. Progress. We're going to speak about progress in this page. Progress is equals to everything between everything. Everything between everything is progress. Okay? Now, to have a past is to have equals to both immediate and still. So, it is both still and it is immediate. So, immediate equals to be also parallel. Yeah. Parallel is going to be symboled as 2 circles. One inside, one outside of it, of the symbol, yeah? Small and medium, or medium or big, and big, whatever you want. So the parallel is before speed. Speed was 3 circles. So this is parallel is 2 circles. So 1 circle is the phase, yeah, and we're inside the phase. And this is so parallel equals to being still and being immediate. And being still and being immediate is also to have a past. So what we have is we have to be both immediate and still. And so we are parallel, and so we have a past. If we won't be still and immediate, we will not have a past. So we need to be still, and we need to be immediate. As I explained in previous recordings about, for example, machines, I explained that machines do not have the now. Yeah, because they're not immediate, they're not alive. So they don't have immediate, but they are just still. Even though it's electricity, it's just still. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have immediate. It doesn't have parallel, okay? So this is this. Now, parallel is before speed, as explained also in through the shapes we can understand the relation. Parallel is before repeat. Parallel is before the repeat. Okay? Parallel is to have a past. Parallel is to have progress. Everything between everything, because it is parallel. Then everything is between everything. It's parallel, yeah? Parallel is inside speed. Speed equals you to yourself, to have a self, x to self, and it equals to x, because self equals to no self, so it equals x. So speed also equals x itself, just the repeat. Even though speed equals x squared, it also equals just the x, just the repeat. Speed equals repeat squared, us squared, and also equals just us. So we ourselves are speed, and we ourselves are more speed, and we ourselves are more speed, or less speed, but we are not still. Speed is not still. Yeah, but speed wants to be still. It will always be speed, but it's not still, even though we are a relation between the immediate contact between speed and no speed, okay? So, this is when we are still. Now, parallel is inside repeat. Okay? Parallel is inside repeat. This is something also big, because we can't see that by the symbols. The repeat is x, and parallel is before repeat. Parallel is inside repeat. So these 2 circles are inside an x. Okay? And this is the 5th page. This is the 5th page. Go in 6th. Okay? 6th page. In the 6th page, we're going to speak about root, which is the foundation. Root. If we're going to look to right top side, we can see an X, a big X, and a line from top to bottom. And here, I'd like to speak about this X and really part it to top and bottom parts. While where they touch in the middle, the middle of the X is exactly where start and beginning happen. Both start and beginning, going top to bottom, are also left to right. And it's 4 triangles. 4 triangles going up and down, left and right. Now, going back to the left side of this page, the beginning is going to be symboled as 2 squares. inside the other, and the end is going to be symboled as 3 squares, inside, middle, and outside. Okay, beginning comes before the end, and the end is always has the beginning. The end has the beginning, yeah. And the whole is inside. The whole, which is the small square, is inside the beginning. It started from a whole, and then it started to beginning, and then it went to the end. Okay. And this is huge. You need to grasp it. It's awesome symbols. Okay. So this is this. And what we need to know is we need to know that the root and foundation is to you. Yeah. Why is it on the, if you go back to the right top side, why is it triangles, bottom, top, left, right, up, down, left, right? Because it is 2 people, it's 2 different entities, different beings, from top and bottom, from up and down, and from left and right. Left is 1, right is 1, up is 1, down is the other, yeah? It's 2, and these connect in the middle of the X, in the middle of the line, and this is to you, okay? This is to you. This is the root and foundation of everything, to you, to you. It can be just one-sided, which can be a beginning, just a beginning, or just an end, or the beginning of an end of one of them, and just the beginning for the other, and just the end for the other, that doesn't go to you. Okay, and it can be both to you in the same, and then it's both beginning and end for both. Okay, so X equals X to X. This is to you. So you equal you to you, or you equal you to someone else that is other. So to have to you is equals you yourself. To be to you equals you yourself. And also, well, we can see that you to someone else can be just, you become one. How? If it's both to you, you become one. If both exist to both, beginning and end to beginning. Now, you to you or you to someone else equals 1. To you, both are apart, equals 1. And you equal to yourself, or you equal to someone else, either way, x equals to x, it can be you or someone else. Beginning is beginning, end is end. Now, what we're going to say is we're on the left side, middle bottom, middle below, and we have that beginning to end equals 1. From beginning to the end is 1. This is one story, yeah, one story. Yeah, it's 1. And the beginning of 1 equals to the end of 1. Beginning of 1 equals to the end of the other as well. Beginning of other equals to the end. Yeah, and this is both. Yeah, the end equals to the beginning equals to the end. From us to ourselves, and from us to someone else's. This is also big to know. And, now next line, the end of someone to any end equals end. So any end is anyone's end to the end. Whatever end you will find is taking your end to end. So the end ends it, and it brings, your end goes all, every end that exists brings you your end closer to end. It brings it closer to end. So your end either way exists, and the end goes and ends and ends and ends and ends and it ends. Now, your end equals to any end. So any end is your end. So you are ending all the time. You all the time end and end and end and end and end. Right now when I'm speaking to you, I end. And on my end always goes towards end, more ending. So I end and end and end and end. Now we are repeated. We equal 1 ourselves. Each of us equals 1. Okay. Now what we need to know, the last line on the left. So bottom left is that my end or someone's end to someone's end equals end. So also someone's end to anyone's end, literally itself, himself, herself, or someone else's end equals to any end. So all of the end is also all of us to end, because anyone's end goes to anyone's end, even myself and the others. So our end is together, it's any end, because everything that ends brings more ending from us to others, and from others to us. So all ends continues and continues and continues and continues and continues by any end, because something ends, okay? If we did not have an end at all, that's fine. But as we do, any end brings us more end. Any end. Any end. Believing, any living, any material that comes to an end, it crumbles, whatever. Yeah, but mostly let's go to grasp the living, the plantations. Yeah, it can be live material. It can be as beautiful as earth and water too. And yeah, so this is also something. Now, what we have is we have. Now, what we have is we have. If we go again to the right side at the top, and we say why we have in the middle we have the x and we have the line, and why do we have the symbols of beginning and end beginning? From the left and right. Because one's end is another's end, and one's end is another beginning, and one's beginning is another's end, and one's beginning is another's beginning. Okay, so this is why it's drawn. Now below that we can see that someone's start to someone is someone end to someone. So when you start and you go to anyone, it goes to anyone. It's also someone's end to go to anyone, and that is any start. So all start is also to bring someone's start or someone's end to someone. So every start is also to bring every start and every end to someone. There is also every start. So because something starts, then someone's start and someone ends comes to you. And so you are related to someone's start and someone's end. And this means beginning or end, because you are not doing, someone might not do to you, it still means one. It still means either end or start or beginning, end or beginning to someone. Because something has started. Any start. Then there is to you. Any start means immediate to you by someone. Either end or beginning. Okay? Now, if we know that start brings to you, means to that to you is the start. Yeah, to you is the root foundation. So if we know that the start is to you, and we know that the start can be just itself. Let's say you don't know to you, and it's just the beginning by itself. You don't know the root to you. Then still the beginning brings to you. Okay? To anyone who existed, let's say somebody existed without the root, and he didn't want to you, he didn't want an end, he didn't want the beginning, he was just there in the middle of something, being free, whatever, and now there is to you because there is a start, there is a beginning. Now where are you going to say, how will you say that someone is an entity exists without a beginning? So the beginning is also the beginning of someone, either way. So how will the beginning of someone, because the root is to you, how will the beginning of someone bring to you? Because the root is to you. That is what I explained. This is the root and foundation. This is the root. Now, the start times the end of someone equals to the start of someone. Okay? So the start of someone equals to the start of someone, obviously. And the start of someone times end, to bring an end, equals to the start of someone. So it means that the start equals to nothing and the end equals to nothing. Okay? This is what it means. Now, if the start equals to nothing and the end equals to nothing, we need to say what is nothing. We're going to see this in this next page, but the conclusion of this page is that the root is to you, it is 2. Now, the number 4. 4 is 5, 6, 1, and 2. Okay, 4 is 5, 6, 1, and 2. And it is only in question of being 3. It is only in question of being 3. Because if you remember, the beginning is an end, and end is a beginning. Beginning is beginning, end is end, and then beginning is end. Is someone else's. You have someone else's. We can say that 4 is 5 and 6 and 1 and 2. 2 is 1 is 1. 1 is also to you and to you. And the root is to you. So they are 1. They are 2 and they are 1. The root is to you. 2 and 1. You to you, and 1 they are. So 2 is 1. And 2 is 1, and then there is a question of being 3. There is a question of a 3. Because we don't know if the 2 that are 1 are now 3. Because there is 2 and there is 1. We don't know if they made a 3. By the root. We don't know if they made a 3. But what do we know? We know that 4 does it. The 4 is also 2 to you. Okay? From one to other and one from other. And then we have 4 that equals at least 6. 1 to 1 and 1 to 1 out of the 4. And these can make 2, 3. And then it's 6. From beginning to end. From one's beginning to another's end. From one's end to another beginning. From one's beginning to another beginning. From one's beginning to another's end. So the 4 reaches 6. The 4 is 2. And the 4 is 1. Because the 2 is 1. And the 2 is in question of 3. And the 2 have beginning and end. And end goes to beginning, and beginning goes to end. So the end to become beginning is another life. So if 2 make this from end to beginning, then it's 4. And they are 1. And now there is a question of being 3 also, because 1 can go to the next beginning, and 1 cannot go to the cannot yet be in the next beginning. Or they didn't make another's beginning, because the 2 can stay at 2 and not begin, and they can make another to begin. Okay, when they both reach the end, just understand me, the root, this root of to you, they can make another's beginning, or they can both begin together. So it's 4. So the 2 is 1 and 4, and it's in question of 3. And the 4 is what they became, and then the 4 goes to 5 and 6. Again, with the 1, 2, 3, and 4. It goes to 5 and 6. Okay? And we're not going to go above 6 and 6, 7, 8, because it's a question of the 3. And this is where we're going to hold. Okay? You can think, of course, yourself, with the beginning to the end to the beginning, whether the question of the 3, if they themselves continue to 2 more beginnings, that is 1 beginning. Yeah? Or if there's another, that is the 1 beginning, another being to become by the root, that is 1 beginning, okay? And this is awesome, this is Messiah, okay? This is the root. So this is this, and now we're going to go to the 7th page, okay? 7th page. 7th page, what we're going to see is, after we saw that the beginning is nothing and the end is nothing, we understand, and we want to say that beginning to end, which is 1, equals to particle. All particles around us, smallest, are nothing, okay? Now, because nothing to nothing equals nothing, okay? And nothing to nothing equals particle, so particle equals nothing. And now, the end, what we need to see is that the end equals to more speed and repeat area. When we reach the end, as explained in previous pages, we saw that there is more speed and repeat and another phase, or no more experience, more area. But if you reach an end, it doesn't mean that you have accomplished the phase. So to end means just more speed and repeat area. Just an end, your end equals, or any end equals more speed and repeat area for you, as long as you didn't accomplish yet the phase, you repeat the area. But there is more speed, and we understood that it's not about the speed. We either way have the speed, and we have all speed within us, if you want to go further. Well, first of all, we're going to address x squared, x in power of 3, and x to power of 4. Okay? So, more speed doesn't mean anything, and repeat area is repeat area, because you didn't accomplish the phase. Wow. Now, Because the conclusion is both end and start, so less experience. Again, because you choose, now this is very important, because the conclusion is both, to have both end and start, or to go to both end, to in both this end and start, to go both an end and start, you have less experience, and you don't only repeat the area, but it lessens. It becomes less area for you. What is the area? As explained previously, I presented you a line that is slanted, and a smaller line, it's a slanted cross, and a smaller line is accomplishment, and then we drew some background around it, and then this was your area. This is now your area, is your experience, because you're more experienced and you're in the next phase, or even not in the next phase. You have more to see, more area. You enjoy life more. There is more area. So when you choose both end and start, it's less experience and it's less area. It becomes less. So don't choose both end and start. What we need to choose, I wrote this, because speed will exist either way. Because speed will exist either way, we have it within us. Because surprise will always become, because self equals to no self, and there's always going to be self and no self. Okay? Because of this, we must go to the past, to the start. Because speed exists either way. I repeat myself. Because speed exists either way. Because surprise will always become. Because self equals no self, must go to this past, to the start. Because the relationship between no surprises and yes surprises, relationship between no surprises and having a self, is speed. So when you obviously have no surprises, and then we have our self or surprises, and it equals no surprises, then speed will exist either way, because it's going to be yes have self, no have self. Yes have self, no, it's going to repeat itself. So either way, speed is going to exist. And this is why we have to go back to the start, because surprise is always going to exist. Surprise is always going to exist. So there's no point in going forwards. When surprises always exist, we have to go backwards to this past and to the start. We're always going to have surprise. We cannot afford ourselves more surprise than we can complete, than we can accomplish. And that is why we have to go to the past, to the start. This is the 7th page. 8th page. We have 9 pages. This is 8th page. Oh, this is awesome. Now we have the 8th page. The 8th page is going to be called Reborn. Reborn. The Reborn is going to have a symbol of 3, also 3 small circles connected between them. It's not in the middle. It's not in the middle, they are connected. Okay? They're connected at the bottom, at the 3rd circle below. Okay? And this is reborn. This means to be reborn. Now, what we say this. A hole, which is the small square, a hole in the middle of the relationship in which speed exists, it is surprise. So the whole is to have a self. A whole is self. The whole is self. A hole in the middle of the relationship, any relationship, in which speed exists, is surprise. And speed is anyway us to ourselves. And speed is anywhere between surprise and no surprise. And speed either way exists. So a whole, and surprise either way exists because self equals to no self. So a whole either way exists, that is us. We have a whole. Now, a whole, H-O-L-E, is in the middle of the relationship in which speed exists, is surprise. And so there is a whole. Now, what we need to remember that the whole is the small square, and the beginning is 2 squares, one inside the other, and the end is 3 squares, one inside the other. So, a whole, if we go out more squares, we can see that always there is a whole. Any square, if you look at it further away from, then any square is the whole, and then again a whole start end. Whole start end. This is also the same as phase parallel speed. Phase parallel speed, and this is inside the self. That is the x, which are just the repeat of the phase. Okay. Yeah, this is inside the self. Parallel is inside the self. Now, we have this surprise is equals to the self, this is a triangle, speed equals a repeat to self, as before, and repeat, that is x, is repeat within as well. Remember, this is within as well, we have it within. Many surprises is the same as self equals to no self, as explained. And 2, that repeat equals 1. 2 are 2 that repeat equals 1, and that x equals 1, and we equal 1, by all of these explained previously in previous pages. These are 2 that repeat equals 1. If I'm not going to discuss what is us to not equal 1. We're not going to have this here. Now, x to self equals the relationship of surprise to no surprise equals x squared equals speed. X to self equals the relationship, again, between surprise and no surprise. So we also equals what speed? We also equal no surprise. This is what I'm trying to say. In one direction. In one direction, we equal no surprise. Because we can see that the no surprise to arrow to self equals to repeat to equals to self, equals to us to equals to self, each of us to equals to self. So we have one direction of us going to self that equals no surprise. So where is the no surprise? When we go to self. Even though self itself is surprise, when we go to self, this is when we equal to no surprise. We equal to no surprise. So where are we supposed to go to? We're supposed to go to no self. Yeah, because we can see that there is double arrows in the relationship of no surprise and no surprise to both sides, both directions, and there is one arrow, of course, from x to self. Yeah, so when we go to self, then we are no surprise at all, and we only go straight, and there is no circularity. Yeah, no surprise. So when we go to no self, it equals either way to self, and then we have surprise. Now, of course, we want surprise. Because no surprise at all is stuck. At all, stuck. It's not good. Or if you want, it goes straight. Just straight. Boom. Yeah? It doesn't work. So this is this. No surprise. No surprise is speeds. It's speed. Never explained it previously. Is this symbol, no surprise is explained. No surprise is speeds. So what does he do? It speeds. And no surprise, and it's just straight. No circularity. So this is no surprise. Straight. Ahead. Doesn't work. Now, no surprise. Now I'm going to just read it. No surprises make the self to come to it. So the self equals to it. And so again, going to self is the no surprise, and it goes to it. To steal things, not a lot. So we go to that. So if we go to self, we go to no surprise. So to go to no self, we go to surprise. A whole must exist for the creation of flow. This is something that I explained in my previous recordings. A whole must exist for the creation of flow. So a whole either way exists within us. This is surprise is the existence of flow. And if self equals to no self, then it is withholding speed. Now it's withholding speed. And 2 of the repeat equals 1 is the both of self and no self. In order to be reborn, this is all of this was the explanation of being reborn. We understood about the whole. We understood that the whole exists in the relationship. Okay? What was new is that it is in one direction. So we have to go to no self to be reborn. This is what I explained in this recording. And 2 of the repeat equals 1 is the both self and no self. So we have to equal 1. The repeat equal has to equal 1. We're going to speak about not equal 1. This is in order to be reborn. Okay, we can stay not reborn. We can stay by having a self. And going again to having a self, but being stuck. Self being stuck. So if you not be reborn, then you are not move forward. You are in the straight. You're in the no surprise going straight in speeds. This is for not to be reborn. We want to be reborn, having no self, reborn in the better realms, better places. And we reach to the 9th and last page. This is going to be extremely fun. The last page is going to be speaking about primacy, because everything I explained, everything in life is going to be primacy, which is also concentration. I said relativity is not good. I said primacy is yes good. Relativity does not have concentration. Primacy does have concentration. symbol of primacy and concentration is the symbol in the top left side to the right of it. We have to the right of it saying primacy, concentration. We have the two lines that are vertical to each other, and we have the third line cutting them in the middle. Slanted, all of these are slanted. This is concentration and primacy. It is, what is primacy? It is end announcing. It is announcing and always to and to and. And I explained in previous recordings, we want to end things. We want things to end. We want to end it and bring, by ending things, we go to another beginning, or we stay in the middle, or we stay in the beginning, and end together. But we announce end, because we need to end it, because we cannot always continue to do what we do. We want to end it, reach another beginning, and reach no trouble, no tribulation. So primacy, concentration is end announcing, and it's following immeasurability. There is immeasurability, it follows immeasurable. This is primacy, end announcing and following immeasurable. Now you can see below it, accomplishment is in its same symbol, variables in the same symbol, is double X, vertical to each other. And what we have is, we have just explained, we have it explained between the past and now. We explain how to have a past, of course we exist now. What I explained in the to the past is that in the parallel, to have a past, you have to be both immediate and still. Both immediate and still is parallel. Okay? This means to be alive and to be still. Now between is between the past and now. The past and now. So when we have parallelity, between the past and now. Speed now is in time. Thanks to the between, to exist between, either way, between the past and now, speed is in time. Speed was out of time. If there was no between, the parallel, okay, then speed would have been out of time. It just goes straight, yeah, because speed itself goes to no surprise. So we hold with the speed within us. Now, self is, thanks to between, the self is less to come that speed, and the end is less to come that speed. Okay? And without speed, following immeasurable exists. Without speed, and is not less of itself. Okay? With speed, and is less. With speed, self is less. Okay? There is less self. Yes, we go to no self, but speed is just less of self. Less of self. Keep this in mind. Now, without speed at all, we have the immeasurable. With speed, we don't have immeasurable. Without speed, we have immeasurable. Without speed, end is not less of itself, more of end. What we want for another beginning, for is the root. Greatest, where we need to reach. Again, with speed, less of self, less of end. So thanks to between the past and now, speed is now in time. And now we can say without speed, because we are in time, we'll do without speed to have immeasurable, and to have and to exist in its whole. And with between, self and end are just parallel. Thanks to the between, the self and the end are just parallel. Now there is a graph on the right, so going end and self, and we can see that there is a graph for end, there is a graph for self, and these are parallel, but they're in different waves, and it still is parallel. And this is thanks to between. If there was nothing to exist between, whether it'll be space, whether it'll be something in concrete, okay? Whether it'll be a layer we're not familiar with, is from us to the parallel. These that is between, it should be just parallel and not affecting each other, not interrupting each other. It's completely separated. Completely separated, no relativity. We say we want to go and find, but what we have to have exactly what the last part of this page. We can see that on the top right we have the symbol for primacy and accomplishment together. Primacy and accomplishment is the symbol of primacy concentration, with the two vertical lines slanted, with the third vertical line slanted the other way, vertical to the other two, only in 3D. Only in 3D. Now, how will you say that the 3D did not exist? Did not exist when you were just 2D? And how will we now reach the 4D and say that the 3D, we are in 3D? How will we say that the 4D existed when we reached the 4D? How will we say it was there and it was relativity, it was related, if we didn't see it, we didn't know about it? You say that you will, do you understand? There is no relativity between the 4D and the 3D. There's no relativity between the 3D and the 2D. There's no relativity. We reach it, and now there is 3D, and now there is 4D. We reach, but there is no relativity. It's the between is not relativity. Body between is not relativity. Even you can ask even about space, but take space. So another layer we're not familiar with and we cannot grasp is separating, or many layers are separating us between what is everything, because everything is next to everything in parallelization. So the last symbol we're going to have, and the last page here on the 9th page, we can see that primacy and accomplishment is the primacy concentration in 3D. It's a symbol in 3D. Okay? So when we accomplish the phases, or the phase we're in, and we reach the next, then we reach the next D. Yeah. 3 to 4, 2 to first to second. I couldn't believe when I was first D. When I was 1D to 2D, what was it even? You know? And that is it. These are the 9 pages. And this is incredible. Thank you very much. God bless you, all love. It's wonderful. It's super. I am ecstatic. These are the 9 pages. All of this is primacy and concentration. I explained that everything is primacy and concentration in life. From top to bottom, from first to last, from biggest to smallest in value. Like the sun is prime in this galaxy, and from to others, whatever. From the Messiah to the rest, from God to the rest. Okay? Now this is primacy. Everything is primacy. From material is primacy. Everything is primacy. Even the space is in primacy. Yeah. From the first going forward and in pressure, if you want to call it, stress, tension, it goes forward to the least, to the weakest material, to the freest material. Yeah. This is primacy. Everything is primacy. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Love. It was a pleasure. This is Lionel Zen, and I will see you in the next recording.